With Ask the Video Guys, we're running down some of the most popular live streaming questions from the last month or so. It's going to be an awesome show with a ton of great information, so don't miss out. And Adam, let's roll the bump and let's get started. All right, welcome. I am Oliver Ricketts from the Videoguys tech team, and I'm here today for our Ask the Video Guys live webinar in case you missed the pre-show. This is a Q&A show that we've decided to do about once a month. Some months we don't do it, some months we do more than one, but on average about once a month to answer some frequently asked questions that we get as the tech team here. We're talking to live streamers and producers of all different sizes. Every day we come across a lot of different commonly asked questions, and sometimes they're questions that we think are important enough to put onto this show. So since these are all real questions, you can definitely reach out and get your question either on the show, or if you need a quick answer, we can do that for you too. I first want to point out that we are live on our Facebook and YouTube chats. Either I will answer it on the show, or if you write in a question, somebody from our team will jump into the chat and get you your answer or get you connected with the right people to start looking into your question. Now, if you want to send in a question for the show ahead of time, feel free to email us at sales@videoguys.com. And if it's for Ask the Video Guys, make the subject line Ask the Video Guys. We are in that email inbox every day answering questions. We also answer all of our YouTube comments at Videoguys, all of our Facebook comments, all of our Facebook DMs at videoguys.com, and Twitter at Videoguys, as well as Instagram. So there's a ton of ways to reach us in addition to our phone number, which is 1-800-323-2325, and our website, where there's a live chat box where you can talk to real people. You will either get Adam or myself, and we are here to help. So let's jump into some of my favorite questions that we've received this month. So Ryan on Facebook asks, it looks like it's time to update my TriCaster. Do you guys have any tips on how long it should take? And actually we have quite a few tips on updating your TriCaster, Ryan. So we actually just ran a TriCaster update. We produced this show on a NewTek TriCaster TC1, and we use NDI heavily in our studio. So NewTek is rolling out NDI 5 very soon. It's very important to have all of your gear and your NDI tools updated so that you will be ready for NDI 5. And I want to go over just a checklist of things you should make sure that you do when you update your system. So tech tip number 1, make sure that you update NDI tools and your TriCaster at the same time. So on your TriCaster system, you can actually update both. Make sure that these are not done separately. If you're updating NDI tools, update your TriCaster. If you're updating your TriCaster, update NDI tools. And we'll actually get into how to do that in just a moment, because NDI tools is a free suite of different production elements that you actually need to run a really good show. And you can get them on NDI.tv. Tech tip number 2, all elements in your studio environment should be updated at once. So this is something that we ran into recently. We have a lot of different NDI elements in our studio, but one of the main ones is this laptop here that actually hosts the presentation for the show. This feeds an NDI feed into our TriCaster just for screen recording. So this needs to be updated to NDI tools, while the TriCaster needs to be updated. So this little device right here. It's important that all of your devices, if you're running NDI, are on the latest version of NDI. So this had to be updated at the same time as the TriCaster and all of the other computers in our studio. Number 3, and this is a great tip that we've actually found very handy in the last couple weeks, always have an NDI converter handy. If you're sending a wireless NDI feed, things happen. Sometimes if you're having trouble getting your signal and this is your only way to get that element for your show, you may need a backup. We use a Spark Plus in our studio, and you can actually see we always have the wire ready to go. We have an HDMI feeding from this laptop into a NewTek Spark Plus to create an NDI feed as a backup in case scan converter for whatever reason doesn't work. So that's a really great tip too. And then 4 and 5 kind of go together, but NDI tip number 4, it takes a full day to update. So don't do it on a day that you have a show. Of course, this is self-explanatory. If you're running a show, you want to spend your morning testing and rehearsing and making sure that your show is going to go off without a hitch. You don't want to be running an update that day and risk it not being done. Moreover, for tip number 5, update between projects, and we mean well between different projects. We produce a great amount of content at Videoguys. Obviously, every Tuesday we do a show, but more often than not, we're also doing a stream on Thursday and a video on Friday. So Wednesday doesn't function as a great day for us to update our gear. It was actually much better for us to update our gear on Friday after the content for the week has been produced. Monday's a pre-production day for us usually, so the gear being updated in that time actually worked out really well. Now, while we're on the topic of updating your TriCaster and updating NDI in general, NewTek made a great announcement, I believe earlier this month, that NDI 5 is coming. They gave us a ton of great features. They'll be rolling out some really great products as well as some great NDI products from BirdDog. But Ted on Facebook asked, when will NDI 5 be available? And I first want to point out that we did a really great Videoguys webinar on NDI 5. You can find that on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page and on our blog. That's really where we dive deep into NDI and NDI 5 and some of the new features, so definitely go check that out. I highly recommend it. But if you're looking to get on the waiting list for NDI 5, we don't have an exact date yet, but you can sign up and be on the waiting list so you're ready when they do drop NDI 5 by going to ndi.tv, and I'm actually going to take you to that page right now. And we'll go right over here. So ndi.tv, this is a website hosted by NewTek. You also see along the top here that this is where you download NDI tools, which is that free suite we were talking about earlier. But you can see right here, join waitlist. If you hit that, put in your email and get on for that waitlist, because when NDI 5 comes, you're not going to want to miss out. There really are a ton of features to help you step up your production. So make sure that you're getting on that waitlist if you're producing NDI-based video. So, shifting gears a little bit into storage, Mary on Facebook asks, why can't I find my favorite G Technology drives? And I do understand this confusion. So I wanted to point out that G Technology and SanDisk have actually merged some of their products together, and now G Technology is SanDisk Professional. So all of those drives from SanDisk that you know and love, they are still here. They are still available just under the SanDisk Professional banner. These have been two companies that have been running under Western Digital for quite some time. We're very excited to see what comes from SanDisk Professional. Definitely stay tuned, because we actually have SanDisk joining us for an upcoming show that Gary is going to host. And that's going to be the show where we dive heavy into a lot of this information. Definitely be sure to stick around and check that out either on YouTube or on Facebook, as well as for all of our updates, because we are quite active on both of those platforms. Tim on Twitter asks, what is the YoloBox Pro? And this is something that we only found out about recently, the YoloBox Pro. Obviously, the YoloLive YoloBox is a great switcher that allows for a lot of flexibility in streaming, recording, and switching all in one tablet-formed box. It's a really popular product for live streaming, and it's great for a lot of workflows. Now, the YoloBox Pro is going to help you step up a lot of those capabilities in a new device. This is for a little bit more of a higher end production. We'll get into the specs in just a moment, but some of these capabilities and the flexibility found here are really impressive at just a $12.99 price point. So let's compare the two units. YoloBox Pro versus YoloBox. Well, the original YoloBox already had a 7-inch LCD screen. That was really great for what you were trying to do with it. It's a lot of screen real estate. But I'm telling you that 8 inches of the LCD screen is even better, even more capability, even easier to see and maneuver. Along with that, the YoloBox at 350 nits versus the YoloBox Pro at 400 nits. Now you have an advantage for daytime production, awesome for sports streaming and switching. Another big question about the YoloBox is that it only has two HDMI inputs. That's really great for a lot of different audiences. It's very flexible, but some people think that the sweet spot is more that 3 HDMI input setup, and that's where YoloBox Pro comes in with 3 HDMI inputs. YoloBox only had the one charging station, whereas YoloBox Pro, you have the charging station and an additional USB-C port. And last thing that I really want to emphasize here is the audio capabilities. YoloBox had a 3.5 millimeter line in. Now YoloBox Pro has that same line in and a mic in input, and some greater mixing capabilities. So the audio inside of YoloBox Pro is also being stepped up quite a bit. We're very, very excited about this box, and definitely stay tuned because I'm sure we will be talking about it much more in the future. Okay, moving on, and let me just take a sip of water here, Adam. Another great question from Glenn via email is, what are the main differences between the BirdDog Flex Out and the BirdDog Play? Well, BirdDog Play is a brand new product from BirdDog that utilizes NDI5. However, their other converters will also be utilizing NDI5, and both of these devices are NDI decode. Now, there is a big difference though, because the BirdDog Play, think of it as something that you'd find more in an AV setup for your production team to send a signal that they need to see and decode, whereas the BirdDog Flex is more of a production streaming unit. And what I mean by that is some of the features found in the Flex Out are more for producing your video, whereas in the Play, it's more for your AV purposes. BirdDog Flex, you're still going to find Dante I/O, input/output, and power over Ethernet, as well as PTZ control. So all of that is still found in the BirdDog Flex Out for $399, whereas the BirdDog Play is still a really great, really small NDI decode device priced at $149. Does NDI5, very cool product. We're very excited about both of these, and both of them definitely have a place in two different workflows. Okay, Daniel from Instagram asks, my LiveU Solo won't connect to my network. It recognizes but fails to take a signal. Is there anything I am doing wrong? And I wanted to take this time to kind of give you guys a little refresher on the LiveU Solo portal. We have a lot of people calling in about the LiveU Solo. It's a really great device once you get familiar with the portal. And especially for those using it with Solo Connect modems, in cellular bonding, it's important to know the ins and outs. So I'm just going to go through some of the important things to check off when you're streaming with the Solo. So for your best practices, make sure that you're checking your Wi-Fi or network password. If you're plugging the Solo in via Ethernet or using a Wi-Fi network, or even both with the LRT, you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi password doesn't have any special characters in it. This is a strange tick that we've discovered recently, but we found that the Solo actually takes much better to networks with alphanumeric numbers only, so only letters and numbers. So that's just a quick thing off the top that we found. Another thing that I want to emphasize is if you're using the LiveU Solo, which I have here for a demo in a little bit, and you have the cellular bonding modems, the Solo Connect modems, you want to make sure that the data plan, first of all, isn't toggled off. We get a lot of questions about the modems not being recognized right at the start, and a lot of times the simplest answer is the correct one. You'll notice, and I'm actually going to open up this shot of the portal. you'll notice that there's the section for your modems, and I'm going to circle it with my mouse here. For LRT, this is where all of your service settings are done. So you'll want to make sure that this little toggle here is switched on to green. You'd be surprised how often this comes up, because sometimes when you log into the portal, it tends to turn itself off. So make sure that you've turned that on, you've registered for LRT, and you've registered your modems. And if you need help doing that, give us a call, or there's even a video on our YouTube channel that we'll link in the blog post that helps walk you through that process. Thank you, Don. Don in the chat says, nice tip. Thank you, my friend. Now, moving into more with the Solo, another question that we've seen pop up quite frequently is the Solo modems work, and we've actually seen this with units that we've set up. The modems work and they work great, but they aren't displaying a carrier name within the portal. So it's not saying Verizon or AT&T, but they're still grabbing a signal and pulling that signal in. We reached out to LiveU to find out why that was. And I actually want to read out the statement that they gave us because it was very insightful and actually pointed out something that we think is a great advantage for the Solo Connect modems, and that's that these modems are actually multi-carrier modems now. So if you have a signal and the best signal for your device is AT&T in one place, and then you go somewhere where that signal is Verizon is the best signal, the modems are automatically going to switch to Verizon. So let me read out the statement from LiveU here, and if we could go full screen, thank you, Adam. At LiveU, we are always working to improve our offerings, including Solo Connect, our combined certified modem and data service for LiveU Solo. After a field trial, we are changing future Solo Connect kits to use multi-carrier capable SIMs. This means each modem has the option to connect to one of 3 networks: Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Which network you connect to will change based on availability in your area automatically. If one day T-Mobile and AT&T offer the best coverage for your location, the kit will connect to those networks. But if the next day is AT&T and Verizon, they will connect automatically to the available networks. No interactions or changes are needed on the end user's part to use this functionality. It happens automatically in the modem and SIM. So this is something that I think is very exciting. And it's going to be very convenient for a lot of LiveU Solo users. We're expecting the name change and what the display on the modem itself is to be updated soon. But in the meantime, this is a really big advantage for streamers using the LiveU Solo Connect modem. So you're not stuck to just one service plan anymore. It's going to change and adapt so to best fit your stream, which we're very excited about. So big ups to LiveU, big props for that. I also want to quickly, while we're on the topic of streaming, and not just with the LiveU Solo, but with encoders in general, talk about this question that we get quite frequently, and this one is from Amy via email. YouTube keeps changing their live streaming process. Can you tell me how I can keep streaming throughout these changes? And we're assuming that Amy's talking about an external encoder that needs to be hooked up to YouTube. What you'll find with a lot of them, like the LiveU Solo or the YoloBox, is they have custom modules that were built for YouTube with the old settings. And a lot of these modules are being updated with YouTube, but YouTube is changing the portal to stream with so frequently on their site. This is because YouTube is trying to find the best way. They are still the best place to stream something, the #1 streaming destination available. But it does get frustrating if you're trying to stream there and you're not up to date with the latest changes. So we have a tech tip. Use the generic RTMP within your encoder. And what I mean by this is, instead of using the YouTube module, most encoders will have a generic setup for an RTMP, and you can actually set this up within your YouTube portal to stream there and work around some of the issues that YouTube is having with scheduling out videos. So let's take a look at that really quick, because I have it set up here with our LiveU Solo. So here's my YouTube channel. Say I want to stream here. Here's my portal on YouTube. This is where I find all of the information that's going to help me stream using a generic RTMP. Now, when I jump into my solo portal, and I've actually skipped to the place where it is because we don't want to show off, obviously, our serial number or any important information, but within the LiveU Solo portal, when you go to destinations, you'll be brought to this page here. You'll see there is a custom YouTube module to use, but you can also scroll down and select generic RTMP. And, oh, I'm sorry about that, folks. Now, this is going to ask you for a couple of different pieces of information, okay? And you're gonna find that right here within YouTube itself. Here I have my stream key. This is going to be asked for. You're also gonna have your primary URL, and then you're gonna have your backup server URL. All of this can be pasted into that custom RTMP field, and that's going to be really the best way to stream to YouTube at this time. So we're very excited about that, and I'm actually going to hit the button on our Solo, and we'll check back on this in a little bit to get our stream started. And actually, folks, if you give me 1 second here, and another really cool thing about the Solo is once you've configured it, it's ready to go. So, Adam, let's cut to you, and we'll come back to this in just a moment. I see it encoding our stream, but in the meantime, let's head on over to our PowerPoint again and talk about the BirdDog P100. Adam, this is really your territory, but I'll read you the question here. How do I upgrade the firmware on the BirdDog P100 PTZ camera? Is it different than other BirdDog cameras?
Why, yes, it is. It's not very different. It's just one additional step, that's all. So let me cut back to me. Hi, guys. This is Adam. Chances are you've talking to me on the phone and everything like that, but I am one of the video production specialists here at L. So if you want to update the firmware on your P100, you can go to BirdDog's website and you can download the firmware. Now, let me show you what that looks like. What input is that? That is input 5. Here we are. So this is the UI. That's not what I want. But this is. So what you can do is you can download the firmware, which brings you to this, and you want to make sure that you're extracting it and not just running it. Running it might give you some errors. But if you extract it, you have an option here. You have Mac or your PC. If it's Mac, you use that. If it's your PC, you use this. I'm on a Windows computer, so this is what we're going to be using. So as you can see, you have 3 steps here. And if you ever get confused or you have never done this before, like me, this is what you can do. BirdDog has included a doc here that shows you exactly what you need to do. And it goes through step by step the process that you want. Now, to quickly run through this, and again, I don't want to actually upgrade our P100, which is the camera that I'm using right now, because we are using it right now. But away we go. Let me show you what to do. So let's go to step 1. And you definitely want to make sure you're doing this in order. In step 1, you're going to want to connect your camera via USB, which is what I've done. So that way your computer and the camera can talk to each other. And so now you're going to open this. Give it a little bit. Yeah, and this program will open. What you want to do is you want to drop down to UVC camera. That is the name for your P100. And if you want to add a firmware option, you hit firmware. And look, I'm already there. Step 1, you would select this here. I've already done it. And then you would just hit update. Bam, you are updated and ready to go. I would recommend rebooting your device here, but you don't really necessarily have to. And then you move on to step 2, which for anybody who uses like a P200 and so on and so forth, this is more familiar territory for updating your firmware on a BirdDog device. So step 2, you're going to want to get some kind of a flash drive. I believe I have one. Yep, right here. Let's cut back to me. a flash drive like this. You're going to want this. You're going to want to format it to FAT32. And again, all of the details are found within that dock that comes with the firmware update. And what's cool is John Knutson actually did a video showing you step by step how to properly format a little flash drive and stuff like that. A little bit of a tech tip, because most of these tech tips that I talk about is from me messing up in some way and having to learn as a result. Just make sure you unplug any other external drive that you might have plugged into your computer while you're doing this formatting, because you might accidentally format your drive, and that's exactly what I've done in the past. It's really bad. So just be careful with that. That's just something that you want to do. I think that's just good practice to make sure everything is unplugged. But let's go further into this. There we go. Anyways, once you do that, you drag this file onto the flash drive and you plug it into the back of your P100. Now, once that's done and you reboot it a few times, you plug her back in, you go into the user UI, go to PTZ, System Update. Let's choose a file. Let me go, let's see, download. Actually, no, I have it on my desktop. I forgot. Make sure you select the right one, of course, and select the firmware file. You just hit choose file and then update. Your system will need to be rebooted, but you'll be brought to a window that just shows you everything that it's doing and the work that's going involved with it. And eventually tell you to reboot your system, and away you are. Suddenly, once you do the reboot, you're up to date with the most recent firmware, and that gives you access to this really awesome color matrix and everything like that. And, you know, more image customization, which is something that I just utterly love about BirdDog. So it's one additional step. It might sound complicated, but I assure you, it's not. It's just getting into a cadence, and it's pretty much the same way you update a lot of firmware for units. So it's nothing to be intimidated by. And if you have any questions, do feel free to reach me at 1-800-323-2325. My extension is 1119. You can talk to me directly. If you've called here before, chances are you've talked to me already. Now, Oliver, if you're ready, I can throw it right back to you. Alrighty, so let's go right back to you. I think I've rambled on enough. And go ahead and take it away, Oliver.
And I do want to, thank you first of all. I do want to circle back to that LiveU Solo portal demo that we were just doing. I got signed out of the portal. Sorry about that, folks. And that's live video for you, but you don't want to stream your passwords and your username. So here is, and I've gotten signed back in, and I want to show you that in just a moment. Here is a screenshot of what your portal should look like. And Adam, if we can throw this up. This is what your portal should look like while you're streaming. You'll see I have this nice status window that shows me everything I need to know. And I can pop that out and get even more information. And then under destination, it'll show you where we're going. We're using a generic RTMP. And you can see right here, Oliver's YouTube channel. And that's the title that I made for it. How did I make the title? Let's go into it. So once more, here is the live destinations page. You can see one-touch streaming. That means I can hit the button on the Solo, and as long as this is configured, I can do it. I can stream. Here's my YouTube module, but I'm not going to use that today. I'm going to go down here and select generic RTMP. Now, when I do that, I'm brought to this page right here, and this is where I make all my settings, including my destination page. So before, we made Oliver's YouTube channel, and here's the stream, and you can see that I've set this up, and I am streaming right now, folks. So I have my test stream for LiveU Solo. I took all that information that we saw before and I plugged it right in, and that was my stream key, my profile, first of all, my stream key, my primary URL, and my backup server. And then I can even go into some of the aspect ratios and the bit rate and change some of that as well. So very intuitive portal that you can still use to stream to YouTube, even if you're running into trouble with the module, which is something that should be fixed down the line. But all hope is not lost, and you can still approach it this way. And I did want to just circle right back to that and show you that the Solo is a rock solid solution that you can stream with.
Before you move on, I just want to say that Don from BirdDog, who's been watching us, thanks for watching, Don, but he put a link that we should definitely be putting into the blog post, because that's a good link to use for BirdDog units to keep handy, to circle back to that. That's actually one of the links that I was using when prepping that, so we'll be putting that link in the blog post as well.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that just to be clear. All right.
And that is something that I want to talk about as well, is if you get us on the phone and you have us, and you're stumped and you manage to stump us, which, not to toot our own horns, but it is a rarity. If you do, we are very good at getting in contact with people who can help answer your questions. We have great relationships with all of our vendors, all of the people, all of our so with BirdDog and with YoloBox and what have you. And we can get you in contact with people like Don, who can help you find where you need to go, get the information you need, and help you get started, get streaming, and be successful with it. Now, one more question for the show, and that's from Tim on Twitter, who says, what is the AtomX Cast? So this is another really exciting new product that we have here. There's an already very popular monitor that most people should know called the Atomos Ninja 5. Very cool little monitor, great for if you're shooting cinematography. Now, with the AtomX Cast and the Ninja Cast, which are brand new products from Atomos, these are extensions that you can add to the Ninja 5 or the Ninja 5 Plus, and you can actually get streaming inputs with these devices. So it's more HDMI inputs to add switching to the device. Really, really cool, added little value to this product. We're very excited about it, and even cooler is it has a USB output. So if you wanted to stream with the Atomos Ninja 5 because you want that pristine picture quality, and you're using switching with the AtomX Cast or the Ninja Cast, you can do that now by taking the USB output, plugging it into your computer, and then using it as if it were a webcam, something similar to some other products that we have here at Videoguys. Now, that wraps up all of our questions for today. I definitely am glad that we had a chance to dive into a lot of these, as some of these are very common questions, and sometimes just finding the simplest answer is the best way to approach things. And sometimes you just need somebody to point you in the right direction. So I hope we were able to help here. If you have a question for us, we can answer at any time. Give us an email at sales@videoguys.com. Find us on YouTube in the comment section at Videoguys, Facebook at videoguys.com, Twitter at Videoguys, or give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. If you are looking for me or for Adam, I'm extension 1111, and Adam is extension 1119. Or you can find us on our website, videoguys.com. There is a live chat feature. You will get in contact with a real person that can actually help you. So we're very, very excited about that. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for watching. Make sure to share this video. Subscribe on YouTube, like the Facebook page to stay updated with what you're doing. And certainly do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help. We want you to be successful streaming. We want this stuff being used in the field, and we're very excited about it. But in the end, thank you very much for watching. I am Oliver Ricketts, and we will see you next week for our regularly scheduled Videoguys live show. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Videoguys live webinar. We go live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to our Facebook and YouTube pages with the latest news on live streaming, video editing, and video storage technology.
Next week, we'll be joined by Paul Richards from PTZ Optics to talk about some exciting NDI products and workflows.
Videoguys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.